They drilled a hole into hell and recorded screams. This is the terrifying story of the well to hell. In 1977, scientists in Siberia thought they had finally struck gold when they discovered an enormous underground gas chamber. Excited to finally have proof that the Earth's core was full of valuable minerals, they immediately began drilling deeper into the cavity. But what they found was not gold, but something much more sinister. As the drilling continued, strange things began to happen. At first, the temperature rose dramatically, but then it started to fall again. It dropped so low, in fact, that the scientists had to stop for the day and come back in the morning to continue their work. When they returned, however, they found that the temperature had once again risen dramatically, and that the readings on their instruments were completely off the charts. When they finally drilled into the center of the mysterious chamber, they were greeted by a sight that can only be described as hellish. There were huge stalagmites and stalactites everywhere, and the air was filled with sulfur and other toxic gases. But the worst part was yet to come. As the scientists were setting up their equipment to study the chamber, they heard a loud, blood-curdling scream. They assumed that it was just a wild animal, perhaps a bear or a wolf. But when they turned on their cameras, they saw that there was no one there, and then they heard it again. The scream echoed throughout the cavern, and the scientists were terrified. They tried to convince themselves that it was just a trick of the mind, that there was a rational explanation for what they were hearing. But there wasn't, and as they continued to explore the chamber, they heard more screams, as well as what sounded like voices and moans. Eventually, they found a large opening in the side of the chamber, and they decided to drill through it to see what was on the other side. On the other side was another chamber, and in the middle of that chamber was a massive crystal formation. As they approached it, they could hear the whispers getting louder and clearer, and when they finally reached out and touched it, the voices suddenly stopped. What did they find at the bottom of the well? What was behind the crystal formation? We may never know, because as soon as they made contact with it, the ground began to shake. The walls of the cavern started to collapse, and the scientists had to run for their lives. They escaped just in time. As they ran away from the collapsing cavern, they could hear the whispers getting louder and more menacing, and then the earth shook again, and this time it was followed by a deafening roar. When the dust had settled and the scientists returned to the surface, they found that the entrance to the cavern had been sealed shut by a rock formation. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed the entrance whole, and whatever was inside that chamber was never meant to be disturbed. This is a scary story that is sure to send chills down your spine. What do you think really happened to those scientists? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more creepy content.